Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. And today we have Spider-Man from the animated series from 1994 through 1998. It's got one season, but it's 65 episodes long. Yeah, um, I don't know if they just never took a break. They just animated everything, just consistently, and I don't know. They just never stopped putting them out until 65 episodes. This is a fairly ambitious show for the time. There have been Spider-Man series before, live action and animated. We looked at the 1981 series not too long ago. There's been many since. Obviously, there's been movies, but this kind of was in that Marvel animated heyday, right around with the X-Men. Their animated series was huge. This is, and the animation style is pretty much the same. It's got that same feel, the same look, and yes, it's hand drawn cell animation, but every once in a while, for almost no reason, they throw in little experimental 3D animation for cityscapes. Like if a car is moving down a street in New York City or across a bridge, suddenly they create that background that is sort of moving, that lets the characters move through it. And when Spider-Man is swinging through the buildings, they've got a sort of a 3D feel to it, um, as compared to the flat animation. So yeah, it's animation wise, it's not the most sophisticated, but it's probably the most familiar style that most American audiences have. Obviously, anime has its own feel, even though this is probably made in Asia, as animated in Asia as well, parts of Asia. But it's a kind of animation that, yeah, isn't like the greatest, isn't top notch, but you're willing to forgive it because the era. It's fairly old now. It's almost 30 years old. No, yeah, almost 30 years old, and strangely enough, the characterization, the characterizations of these characters fairly well, and some you may not know so well, are pretty consistent and they're well written. And it's partially due to the fact that one of the writers on this crew has written Spider-Man comics for years. Jerry Conway is one of the writers that I've seen here. Uh, it says Stan Lee, but uh, you know, he's a creator, and he's. Let me see if I recognize any other names here. Not a whole lot, but Jerry. Oh, Len Wein. Len Wein, that guy who created Man Thing, Swamp Thing, Wolverine. Uh, he contributes Stephen Grant, Jerry Conway, J.M. DeMatteis. Oh God, I can never say his name right. Yeah, so there's a number. Keep going. Blah blah blah. There's a number of comic book writers in this, so they kind of know Spider-Man pretty well. Um, One of the things that makes this unique is that this shows a pretty incredible level of forethought story wise, because they're laying groundwork even in the first episode or the second episode, where there are characters that are being introduced that Peter Spider-Man does not interact with whatsoever, but you know that they're bad guys. Kingpin shows up. Um, Norman Osborn is working with him, and then there's Alistair Smythe with the Spider Slayers, and you you know that there's certain story threads are going to build up. Felicia Hardy shows up early on, but she is not who you know who she's eventually becomes, Black Cat, but she's just a girl who goes to college with Peter. By the way, this is not the normal storyline period. There's no Gwen Stacy so far. And even though Peter's already in college, he has not met Mary Jane. I've only watched 3 episodes. The very last moment of the third episode is him meeting Mary Jane, with her saying her iconic line, "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." And you realize that even though he's been avoiding this blind date for the longest time, to hear that line straight out presented, I realize that yes, it's an iconic line for comic book readers. It's the introduction of Mary Jane, his true love, and you can see John Romita's pencils on how she's depicted her in her appearance. I think it was John Romita, or was it? Was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was John Romita who first drew it. I'm just always picturing those curves that John does so well. Um, but you got that line. It doesn't. It's kind of really awkward for an introductory line. If I walked up to a blind date and just said, "Face a tiger," you just hit the jackpot. I'm pretty sure she'd close the door in my face. That's and no matter how pretty she is on the other side, if she said that to me, yes, I'd go, well, the date's not off, but I'd really question whether she's full of herself more than anything else. So that's a long detour. This is actually a really good series compared to the 1981 one. This is, yes, still pointed towards children, but it has sophistication to attract older viewers, like to engage them as well. We got a great cast of actors, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But we got, like I said, more sophisticated storytelling. Yes, it's Spider-Man versus Spider Slayers in the second and third episode, so it's just him fighting robots for the most part. But he's also rescuing a whole host of his future villains, including Eddie Brock. I'm going to say Hank Azaria, who's known for all of his work on The Simpsons, is Eddie Brock, Venom, future Venom. Ed Asner is J. Jonah Jameson, who is hugely in the first three episodes. He's just everywhere. But yeah, we get to see the seeds planted for plenty of future stories. And I went through this and I realized that there's actually, out of the 65 episodes, two 14 episode story arcs. Yeah, there's like part 14. And it hits on some major Spider-Man moments. There's even a Secret Wars two-parter, which how's that a two-parter? And it's unrelated to the coming of the symbiote suit, which creates Venom eventually. So they're separate, even though in the comics they were together. They're not beholden to the comics, obviously. This is a whole different universe. It's a multiverse. But you see all the classic villains. You see Scorpion. You see Craven, Carnage, Venom, probably Rhino somewhere in there. Let me see real quick. Oh, there's Black Cat. I've nope. Hobgoblin. Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill plays Hobgoblin in this. There's Tombstone. Good grief. Is that? Oh, there's Green Goblin. Eventually, Doc Ock shows up as well. Morbius, the Punisher, Blade. I mean, but a very strange looking Morbius. The X-Men show up, of course. This is like, they show up somewhere around part 4 and 5 of this huge multi-level arc with Hydro Man and Morbius, the vampire, the living vampire. Mac Gargan, who is the Scorpion. I've already forgotten who plays him, but Jim Cummings, of course, is in this. The standard Disney character actor voices that do so many voices throughout Disney works. Well, and also just anything animated. Sorry, I mean Jim Cummings. He plays Shocker. Zaria. Beyonder shows up in this. Oh yeah, Rhino. Mysterio. Mysterio shows up in episode 4. Oh, I can't find him. Oh, Richard Mall plays Mac Gargan, but somebody else plays Mac Gargan too, who is Scorpion. Chameleon. Holy crap! Shield. I skimmed through these earlier, so. But yeah, there's a number of them. Mary Jane's aunt is played by Majel Barrett Roddenberry, the wife of Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek. I mean, this is a lot of voices. Silvermane's in this. Robert Hayes plays Tony Stark. Hey. Good. Come on. I know this is not so interesting when I do this, but maybe none of it's interesting. David Warner, Don Lewis, two N's. Flash Thompson, of course. Yeah, it's a very, for Peter's social life, it's a bit interesting how everything is rearranged. But yeah, there's one that blew me away. Oh, Martin Landau plays Matt Gargan too. There's Bull from Night Court and Martin Landau both play Matt Gargan for some reason. But yeah, it is a who's who of animation voices and stars. So if you're into that kind of thing, if that interests you at all, that's awesome. But in reality, you're gonna be focused on the characters, and you're gonna be focused on the storylines. And again, there's two 14-episode arcs in this. That's just unheard of. I mean, there was just, in the 3 episodes I watched, there's one 2-parter. The first episode starts with the lizard, and the second one is all about the spider slayers. But they seed so much else in there to really say, there's big things to come. Eddie Brock is building up a grudge. What could that build itself into eventually? And you deal with Norman Osborn and Harry and everything else. Felicia, of course, Mary Jane. It's a big, big deal. It's kind of I honestly, I think I've watched a few of these episodes way back when, but I guess I'm just really not into it as much. About the cartoons more than the comics. I was very much into the comics. So, yeah. If you've not watched this yet, it's time to put it on your list like I'm going to do right now. Boom. All right, so now I am subscribed or whatever. Yeah, this is one of the better series. I've not seen some of the newer ones, but I know this one has a huge place in everybody's heart when it comes to the Spider-Man animated mythos. So I know there's other stuff I needed to talk about this, but it's got the characters down. The dialogue is good. Peter's throwing the right kind of jokes. They're not too corny, but corny enough to be Peter. It's got the drama. It's not too forced. It is cartoon forced. People shoot lasers. Nobody dies so far, unless they have to. But there's no inconsequential death. Like everybody's just getting blown away. Even when the lizard takes a utility worker into the sewer, you figure, oh, he's going to just tear him apart and just kill him or whatever. Well, no, he doesn't kill him. He just captures him to help him fix something. So, yeah, it's he has reason. He's a scientist. So yeah, I'd say highly recommended. Get a chance. I think if you have kids, you might all enjoy all these things, especially if you know all the characters from the comics and even from the movies. You should enjoy this, even though it does look dated. So, and the theme song, by the way, with the robotic Spider-Man. That's the electronic robot kind of voice. It's so early 90s. It's awesome. All right, here we go. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
461.
Oh, same in the 400s. 461. Oh, okay. This is a short. I think I should know what this is, but I don't. But we're going to find out very quickly because it's a short. We'll see it by tomorrow. It's Sanjay's Super Team. Sanjay's Super Team. All right, I guess I'll see you back here tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge with Sanjay's Super Team.